welcome. Today we're going to cook cheesy chili nachos. It's very simple, very, very tasty. Should serve 4 people. Used to do this in my restaurant a million years ago. Couldn't get enough of it. It would fly out the door. First thing we're going to do is prep some ingredients. So what you're going to need is 400 grams kidney beans, 400 grams of tin chopped tomatoes. These things, just get them from any of the supermarkets. They don't have to be the best ingredients because they're all very good ingredients. I like to throw a pepper in because it gives some bite, crunchy bite that is, and it adds a bit of a different color. Basic onion. I've just been to the local supermarket and bought 500 grams of lean minced beef. You don't want the fatty stuff. The leanest you can get is good. But again, if it's cheaper in Aldi, if it's cheaper in Lidl, if it's cheaper in Asda, go and get it where it's cheapest. Just to make life easier for this one, I've bought the salsa and I've bought the guacamole. Now the guacamole I'd normally make, the sour cream, obviously we buy. Another video, I'll teach you how to make the guacamole. It's very, very simple. And you don't have to buy brand name corn chips. These are supermarket's basic brand. They cost very little. They're going to get heated up. They'll melt. You will not taste the difference. If you want to buy a flavored version, go ahead and buy a flavored version. These are just the basic plain tortilla chips. So, I'm going to start just prepping some things. Starting with an onion. You can buy all of this stuff pre-cut. If you're not good with a knife, if you're worried about it, you can buy prepped onion. You can buy it pre-chopped. Because there's a lot of waste with an onion. Once you cut the brown skin off, then really you need to take the next layer of onion off as well. Because, you know, things are full of pesticides and the likes. So, clear that off. Simple chopping. A sharp knife. You have to have a sharp knife. Mind your fingers, because we've all been there. Right, what's always good, excuse me, is always have a bowl of warm water handy, just to rinse the hands off. Make sure you wash everything. Even if it's pre-packed and says it doesn't need washing, wash it. Simple bell pepper makes a nice bright addition to what's going in the pan. I would leave it cut lengthways because I like it that way, but my missus doesn't, so I have to chop it small. And this is not, I've left the tap running, excuse me. This is not a competition, I'm just doing it quite quickly. Because if you're following along in real time, because we're going to do a real-time video and we're going to do a shortened video. If you're following along in real time, just press pause. Chop things at your speed. You don't have to do it at anyone's speed. I'm not a professional chef, I just used to own restaurants, that's all. So, what we also like to do for a bit of garnish is get some iceberg. Just chop it. Bang, 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 like that. You're throwing this on the top at the end. Makes a nice addition, looks pretty. Just shred, just rip. Doesn't have to be, it will look pretty without you trying to make it pretty. So we're also going with about 150 grams of tomatoes. I have to thank my neighbour who provided me with the tomatoes because I forgot to buy some. I'd normally go for cherries. These are posh Marks and Spencer's ones because my neighbour's posh. And they will add, again, flavour, colour, and they'll brighten things, which is what the pepper does. Brightens the flavour, brightens the taste. And put on as many as you want. If you want a whole bunch of these things, put a whole bunch of these things on. There we go. That's for the end. Okay, so I'll just scrape that onto there. Fortunately, my surfaces are clean because I've cleaned within an inch of my life. Right, when it comes to the beef, just a decent, less than 5% fat is typical. If you get it much fattier than that, the fat will burn off and you won't have as much beef. It's false economy to get the cheapest stuff, but find the cheapest of the good stuff that you can, because everything's costing a fortune. So, straight out the wrapper. When it comes to putting the beef in, you'll find a lot of people will just throw the minced beef in the pan and mash it. Don't do that. Break it up with your fingers. It'll cook more evenly, it'll cook quicker, and it won't have that gritty texture that quick cooking minced beef can sometimes have. If you break it down properly, it'll cook more evenly. Right, next step is to put it in the pan. I'm very lucky, I've got an induction hob, so you don't have to get it warm. It gets warm uber quickly. So put your oil in first if you're using an induction hob, before you switch it on. You want the pan hot, because what you're going to do, first of all, is brown off the onions. So get them in quickly and follow it on with your minced beef. Like I've said to you, get hold of the beef and break it down. Don't just put it in the pan and mash it up, because you'll end up with lumps of beef and it needs to be broken down. Because it's been sitting in a packet, you know, for a few days, either in your fridge or on the supermarket shelves, and it'll compact. So just break it up and put it in. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. I always have a bowl of warm soapy water in the sink. Before I touch anything else, I can just go and rinse my hands off. And you're not passing anything on. And when it comes to minced beef, cook it through. Do not treat it like steak. You can have rare steak. You can't have this stuff rare. It has to be cooked through. So again, if you're cooking in real time, we may be editing a little bit of this because it can get a bit boring just standing here. If you're cooking in real time, just press pause. Okay, good. Just going to rinse my hands. So, give that a good mix up. You want everything to be brown, everything cooked off. Doesn't have to be overcooked, just cooked through. Now if you read a chili recipe, they'll tell you to put kidney beans. And these chili recipes are kind of European ones. If you go to South America, they make it very, very differently. But if you do chili con carne in the Western Hemisphere, generally speaking, they'll tell you to put the kidney beans in at the end, because they only take a few minutes to cook. Put them in as soon as your minced beef is brown. Otherwise they'll be too hard. And let them cook through. So I may put that on a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't kill any sound or create any sound issues. There we go, we're nearly there. This is why you need the heat quite high at this stage, because you want things to cook, to fry, not to broil. And of course, if you want to add anything else that you particularly like in your chili, there's no hard and fast rules, you know, go ahead and put whatever you like in. So, now, kidney beans. Followed quickly by the chopped tomatoes, because you need something with some fluid in it so things don't burn. There we go. So, we can turn this down a little bit now. So looking to cook, not burn. Now I looked around and I previously I bought a chili con carne powder mix. These things are excellent, but you know, you can be ripped off and you can buy a particular brand and it's £1, and then you go to the next aisle in the supermarket and you buy, like I did for example, and bought this excellent brand and it was only 80 something p. So these things add up, and the cost of food, as we know, is crazy right now. So we're trying to do this not on the cheap, but sensibly. It's starting to look good. What I also like to have next to me while I'm cooking is a little jug of fresh water, because if this reduces too greatly, it starts sticking to the pan. You can just add a little touch of water and that will just make it loose and fluid again. Okay, good. Now, like I say, we like to throw some bell pepper, some sweet pepper in there, just for crunch and just to brighten the colour. Also taste great. And again, we're looking to cook things through. Not looking to burn or overcook, but cook things through. Because once we've built our tower of nachos, we're going to put them in the microwave. Just to melt the cheese, just to melt the, I was going to say the brand name of them, just to melt the tortilla chips, just to soften it all down. So you don't have to worry about overcooking everything, because it's going to get a blast in the microwave in the not too distant future. Okay, so we need to let that simmer now for about 3 or 4 minutes on a medium-high heat. So that's what we're doing now. Once we've got our ingredients in, just grab your packet mix and just sprinkle it over. If you want to make it a much hotter chili, then you can get really fiery chili powder. It doesn't have to be the simple stuff that I like to use. This is where your little jug of fresh water will come in handy. Mix it in gently, don't burn it, check your heat. Don't be afraid to turn the heat up and down. A little bit of water in there. And you can sense it, you can guide it. It doesn't have to be X amount of fluid ounces or X amount of milliliters, just a splash of water. And it will reduce, and you can make it as thick or as fluid as you want the sauce to be. Okay, and it will not take long for this to mix through. It's a simple powder mix. They're excellent, these things. They make life so easy. I can't tell you how many cheats you'll find in a restaurant, professional restaurant. Well, actually, as the series goes along, you're going to see some of those cheats. Right, now we start to build it. Switch that off, kill that. So next step is to actually build it. We've got just shy of 200 grams, because that's what comes in the packet, of tortilla chips. These, at the moment, these happen to be Asda Zone, because I was in Asda shopping. I've got Asda Zone mature cheddar, because I was in Asda shopping. If I'd been in Lidl or Aldi or wherever, I'd have bought that stuff. Nice big plate. What we're going to do is build layers of tortilla chips, chili, cheese, tortilla chip, blah, 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 blah. And then we top it off with a garnish. It's very simple. So you want a nice big base, because you're going to be pouring warm ingredients over the top and then putting them in the microwave to give them an extra melting power. So don't be afraid to put plenty on. You know, you're looking at a good old snack for 4 people here, sitting around watching whatever, Strictly or football or whatever is your thing. So, one big layer of tortilla chips, one nice big layer of chili sauce on there like that. Then you're going to get yourself round about 150 grams of, I'm using mature cheddar. Use whatever cheese you're happiest with, but it's a compromise between us in our family that we all like mature cheddar. So grate it down, grab some, sprinkle it on, spread it on. You know, this is meant to be gooey and sticky and enjoyable and finger food, so throw it on. Then another layer of tortilla chips on top of that, like that. Then more of this fantastic sauce over the top of that. Don't worry about being neat, it's meant to be messy, it's meant to be finger food. If you were in South America in one of the local markets and you bought this, it would come out and it would be messy because it's good food, it's to be handled and enjoyed. If my dogs hear me tapping that grated cheese, they'll be going nuts right now. Bit more on there. Then another mountain of chips on top of that. Finally, a nice big dollop of chili on top of that, like that. One more mountain of grated cheese, or small hill depending on your cheesy requirements. Then we're going to take that to my nearly 1000-watt microwave and ping it for poppy ping, as well as I like to say, for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Beep, 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 lovely sound. Okay, now this is probably going to be hot, so don't just bung your fingers in there. Look at that, look at that. So we want a bit of garnish on there, so we've got our tomatoes and our iceberg. Just dump it on the top, people, just dump it on. Get yourself, like I say, I bought this stuff in, but guacamole is so easy to make and tasty. We'll do that next time. I'll show you how to cook that off. Cook it off. It's just very simple prep. Big serving spoon, big dollop of sour cream on the top of that, big dollop of guacamole on the top of that, and then just tuck in and you will enjoy every morsel of that. Do you want to dig in? Do you want some? Here we go again. If, like me, you're filming this quite early in the day, you'll be drinking fizzy water to wash this down and keep you hydrated. If, however, you know, your afternoon, your evening, you're out in the Sunday afternoon, sitting outside in the lovely weather. Traditionally, you'd kind of have cervezas, you know, you'd have the South American beers, the ones, the Sols, the Coronas. Just be slightly different with this. I've got a few recommendations. Newcastle Brown Ale. Now, I know the Americans love this stuff. God bless you, America. This gives a completely different flavour to something like this. The cervezas, the Latin American beers, they will cut through, but maybe you don't want to cut through, maybe you want to add to the flavour. That will do that for you. Again, I just happened to be an oldie while I was doing this, so these things are not expensive. They're not sponsoring me, not yet anyway. A blonde beer, a lovely Belgian beer. I think this was something like £2.50p. It's not going to break the bank. You'll get a wonderful flavour. It'll be buoyant next to something as deep as a chili. And let's go South America. An Argentinian Malbec. This, I think, was just shy of £6. It's fantastic. It's 13% alcohol. It's their specially selected range. This is beautifully peppery and will really enhance the flavours of a good chili. So give it a try, enjoy yourself and dig in. I know my neighbour's waiting for me to give this to her and her husband, so I'll see you next time and pass it on to them. Bye-bye. Cheers everyone, enjoy.